bit of background, Ruby, and Michael, sorry about the pitch again. You'll probably hear it all over again. Suits or Shirts was found by me in February 2016, and I was going through quite a number of things, both personally and professionally. Both my parents had a stroke 10 years prior, so 2006. A couple of things happening with myself, had anxiety. So I said, you know what, it'd be good and it'd be great to have a network or a platform to turn to, so that when you're in a professional manner or in a personal manner, whatever you're going through, you know that there's a support group that's willingly able to help you, or at least you can turn to, so that maybe you have a similar story. It was only until recently that my couple of friends, when I say recently, 6 to 8 months ago, a lot of my friends say, mate, you know, I think your story and the men that you've captured so far, I think there's a lot of women that I think would really love to know more about that. And initially it was thought to be a men's kind of group, but it really wasn't. It was there to promote men and women, you know, single parents, people coming out of university, just don't know what to do, for example, in life, or people who have just lost their job after 20 years in corporate and, you know, just hitting a brick wall. So all I really want to do is basically connect the likes of yourselves to someone in New York, for example, or to someone in Abu Dhabi, or someone in Asia, and say, hey, you guys are doing two of the same thing. One's doing well, one's not going well. Maybe if I can link you guys together, would that help? And that's one aspect. And the other aspect is, again, the personal manner, where people are going through, you know, mental health. But if that person's got no one to talk to, no network, which is quite sort of the trend here at Western Sydney. Not a lot of people know a lot of people. It's probably one of the poorest areas in Sydney, Western Sydney, and that's a black town, to be specific. So I'm here to represent a community of 400,000 people, I'm thinking. And I want to build this community so that we're known to the likes of Melbourne. We're known to the likes of New York, and building a small community of people who are ready to take the next challenge in their life. And to use, you know, some of your words, Ruby, you know, to be unapologetic, right? And you know, I think a lot of the time here in Western Sydney, a lot of people do apologise for a lot of the things that you know, have gone wrong or gone right. You know, and I think right now the force and the outlet that we have with social media, and I think Michael, we touched on this a little bit before, where even though we have Instagram, even though we have LinkedIn and Facebook, we're still so dispersed. We're still so far away from each other. We're like, yeah, I've got 15,000 connections. Yeah, I've got 100,000 connections. Yeah, great. But you don't even talk to the laundry guy downstairs, or the cafe owner, or the bus driver. And what I'm making it more real in Suits or Shirts is allowing real people to connect with real people. And I caught up with Commando Steve from The Biggest Loser recently, and we just had a chat, you know, over lunch. And he's got a lot of things that we're trying to work on here at Sydney. And reason why I wanted to connect with you, Ruby, and Michael, obviously, is I want to make sure that more and more people know who you guys are here in Sydney, Western Sydney especially, in doing what you guys are doing, and buying into your product and buying into your brand. But also, ultimately, one day, we can have a digital network, a digital event rather, and I can include you guys into that event. And if you ever come down to Sydney, then we'll have a physical event as well, and you guys be the sort of guest speakers and whatnot. But that's my little spiel.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah. The thing today, Ruby, and for the next 24 minutes, what I really wanted to ask from you was just how it all began for you. I mean, you may have said this, God knows, 1,000 times, you know, in your talks and sharing with your own community. But for this sort of, for the purpose of this conversation today, why did you go away from the corporate, and what sort of drove you to start where you are now?
Yeah, so I started off in corporate about, 12 years ago. Did the whole school, university, straight into corporate life, and I was lucky enough to really secure some really amazing jobs, right? Like some of Australia's most well-known brands brought me on, and I started my career in accounting and finance, and then I progressed into HR and recruitment. And I stayed there for quite some time, over a decade, and loved it. You know, felt really rewarded, started to lead teams and be involved with some massive projects and all those things that you should feel extremely satisfied with, right? You know, anyone who's bringing home a comfortable salary and who's being recognized for their work, it should technically tick all the boxes. Yet I still felt like something was missing, something was not quite right, and I was always searching for the next opportunity. And funnily enough, I think one of the blogs that I wrote, because I started a little website, a little blog site, was actually about every time I get a promotion, I end up looking for a bigger opportunity, which, might I just add, really pissed my manager off at the time. I got pulled up about that one, saying, "I'm so grateful for your promotion. Do you know how many people would have wanted it? And then you went out and put a blog like that out there. You've just like basically like check yourself." And I remember coming home and talking to Michael about it, going, is that not normal to always want to grow and to be bigger and to play and to not accept what's in front of you, but to always have that next level goal, which is really the theme of the blog. But slowly but surely, I started to recognize that essentially I wasn't living my most authentic life. I was in this square box, like I was like a round square peg and I was in this round hole, is what I was wanting to say. And I started to side hustle. I started to try and explore, find, create, mold, speak to people about how they viewed me. I started to play with my personal brand and really get to know how I was adding value to the world outside of just my employer. And so in 2015, I started a side hustle, started to monetize it. And at the time it was like a couple of $100 a month that I was writing resumes. I was putting together LinkedIn profiles. I was interviewing. And over the next 3 years, from 2015 to 2018, we really started to accelerate what that meant for us, not just as a little bit of a side hobby, side income, but actually putting a purpose and a meaning behind it. You know, attaching that big ticket dream, and as a couple and as business partners, looking at really how we wanted to use this as a platform to create freedom of voice. And this time last year, I was still working in a job.
Wow.
So we've just gone all in with our business, which is now all about starting side hustles and monetizing side hustles in March 2018. It's been an absolute magic ride. So that's a very, very quick overview of where it came from and where we are today.
During that time, sorry, it's like 40 degrees here in Blacktown, and trying to have some hot chocolate and I've got some water at the same time. So I'll be wiping my face throughout the whole interview.
I love it. I love that it's 40 degrees and you're having a hot chocolate.
It is what it is, right? And I've got a cardiologist appointment at 3 o'clock because I get my heart checked every 2 years. So he's probably not going to like this part. But anyways, YOLO. So the thing that I admire about women like you, Ruby, and certainly even yourself, Michael, you know, as a partner, more often than not, you know, in this journey of whether you got a partner that's so driven, you know, in an idea, it becomes a concept, and then becomes action, and then it becomes whatever it is. Michael, I wanted to ask you a question. Sort of, when Ruby said to you, "Hey, babe, I've got this idea," what was your initial thought? Tell me the raw facts, Michael. What did you go? You know what, Ruby, you're crazy. What was it? What was it?
What was it? What was the moment?
That moment when Ruby goes to you, goes, "Hey, babe, I've got an idea. I want to do this." What was your reaction? So what did you say to Ruby?
No, I was all for it. I remember we went away to Europe, coming back on the plane home, and that whole time, what was it, 20 hours, 18 hours? And we had notepads and we were just sketching out business plans.
Wow.
We whipped off to sketch out logos and then back to business plans. And then we had all these offerings and we mapped out our website. And so I was really excited. I was really hungry to be a business owner. And like, this has been the great ticket. Like, yeah, she's got the skills.
Yeah.
And I can piggyback off this. So, so no, I was really excited. I was, similar journey to Ruby. I followed the the proven formula that you went to school, went to uni,
Yep.
got a job, did your time, climbed the ladder. And so I did that, and then 20 years later, like 20 years in the workforce, and I was starting to get higher and higher. I just wasn't happy. I was like, is this as good as it gets? And so I always had two big dreams, and one was to be a business owner, and the other was to have an endless summer. And I realised I was doing nothing to achieve either of those dreams. Nothing really. And so when I spoke to Ruby about that vision, about my dreams, she had very similar. So it was a perfect match in that sense.
It was on our, literally our first date when he mentioned that.
Wow.
But, I'd really love to start a business and travel the world and have an endless summer. And I'm like, me too.
Well done.
Let's get married.
Well done. Hey, that's good. I love that. And this is why I'm so excited about seeing people just go for it, right? Just absolutely go for it. And this is the reason why I'm so driven here at Blacktown in Western Sydney to hear people like you and to share that, you know what I mean? Because everyone likes going to those events. You know, they pay $500 or $1,000 on, seeing an inspiring person. I've seen Gary Vee twice. I've met Grant Cardone online. Grant Cardone is
Wow, that's so cool.
a real estate mogul overseas. And you invest in yourself, but then you don't take action. And I think that's what's missing in Western Sydney. And the question that I've got for you, either both of you can answer at the same time, would be this. You've obviously maybe had hit something like a wall or some sort of bump along the way, right? How did you guys overcome it and go, you know what, babe, this is what we've invested in, this is what I'm putting my heart and soul in, and blood, sweat and tears, we've got to go for it. Firstly, what was the period where you go, you know what, we're going full steam ahead, or there was a bit of doubt? What was that time?
I think we had two main kind of indicators. The first one happened in 2015, late 2015, where I was basically told by my employer at the time that I wasn't able to continue blogging because it was a direct conflict of business policies, and I wasn't monetizing my business at the time. It was mainly about having an independent voice, and
Right.
a lot about the risk factors of the employer I worked with.
Sure.
So that was a major values clash for me, because not only was it a values clash, it was a freedom kind of thing, right? I'm like, what do you mean I can't have my own voice? So that was huge, and we made decision, and I said we, because it was a decision together, that I would finish up at that employer. And we had this conversation where it was like, you know what, we can do this, we can make it work. There's a reason why we started it. And trust me, there was a lot of tears, a lot of worry, doubt, anxiety. I mean, I was like sleepless nights, rocking myself in the corner, not eating, all of that. It all compounded into this one moment.
My appetite didn't suffer, so that was...
I was just going to say, Michael, you're probably still the same, ate well, while Ruby's there, struggling. Good on you, mate.
Try this chicken, it's delicious.
Or some hot chocolate, so yeah.
Yes. But no, that moment was really defining, I feel. But the thing was, at that time, we still weren't financially ready, fully technically. Plus, there was...
mentally.
Yeah. So there was still one more step to go, and that was, I went back to find another employer who was supporting of a side hustle and writing a blog and having my own voice, and that happened almost instantly. And that was actually a very pivotal and key component to our journey, because what that did was I ended up finding a role in a tech startup company, and they had venture capitalists in there, angel investors in there. I learned so much about entrepreneurship in that 18 months. I learned so much about what it took to fail and start again and get rejected and start again and pick yourself up. I was hanging out with like tech startup entrepreneurs and founders who, mind you, a lot of them were boys in their early 20s who just broke the system and had so much freaking resilience. I needed that piece of that puzzle get me to where I am today.
Yep.
And I would be feeding it into feeding it back at home, saying, you know, this is what's happening. And at this point, Mike had resigned from his 19-year career
Wow.
to become a full-time stay-at-home dad. So it was just this, like, you know, all of it now, if we think about it, were the puzzles that needed to kind of fit in place. Yeah.
Big life-changing stuff. And somewhere in between there, we opened a Shopify account and we sold our first resume package. And it wasn't for a lot. It might have been $50 or $100, but it was our first sale. And we just danced and celebrated. The first sale in your own business, you can never really replicate that emotion. And so what I knew, and I think you knew too, if you could sell one, you could sell many. And from that point on, I just knew that we backed ourselves.
Yeah.
Played the long game. That we could make our own business and our own life out of it. We didn't need to rely on an employer. So
That was awesome.
definitely the getting the warning or nearly getting fired for having a blog. I think that's for you when you went right.
Yeah.
It's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I think people need to be fearless like you guys. You know what I mean? I think you need to be at one point in your life where you're going, are you, and don't mind if I curse, you know, you're sick and tired of doing the same shit all over again for the next 20 years, so that when you're 65 and you're ready to retire, or maybe another 10 years after that, then you get to enjoy your life. How does that even make sense? So, you know, what Gary Vee, and sorry, I'm going to be quoting a couple of things from his sort of learning from me. He tells us a lot about value before demand. Value before demand. You've given so much value, and certainly since 2015, as you say. That's what I feel with a lot of people, where they're going, you know what, I want to monetize my product. I want to get profit in 18 to 24 months. I want to understand my capital, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, if you haven't provided value, then you don't mean shit. That's just what I'm saying. Here at Western Sydney, a lot of people get to sell a lot of products, and whether it's the fitness gyms or whether it's the protein balls or whether it's whatever the hell it is, right? And I always say to my wife, I said, "Hun, I'll give you 18 months, that shop will close.
Yeah.
I'll give you 6 months, those protein balls won't be there anymore," and so on and so forth. Because I said, value before demand is so relevant nowadays, right? Like, you go onto someone's Instagram, you can't get value from them, you probably won't follow. When I say this, and I guess I just want to ask as well, what value do you guys intend to further provide your community in the next 12 to 18 months that you go, you know what, this is what we've been doing for 36 months or 48 months. We want to go a little bit above that. What are the things that you guys are planning now that you feel can be not in the marketplace at the moment, and certainly you don't have to go into too much detail, but what are the things that you guys are working on right now that are so tangible and go, you know what, this is why you guys have to get a Rubilee.com?
I think we've just spent end of last year, early this year, just scoping out, honestly, just all the free shit we're going to give away. There's just endless amounts. Like, I have a spreadsheet with about 25 columns going that way, and then it's like so many lines deep with like all the topics that I need to cover and want to cover. They'll come out in the form of videos, ebooks, podcasts, free courses, free masterclasses. Like, we have literally scoped out the entire year, and we want to make it so accessible for people who are working full-time, multiple part-time jobs, whatever it is, to make a living, to actually fully be able to say, I can do this, I can step into my purpose, I can create a business, I can monetize with ease, all of those things. Like, we've got such a clear plan on that.
Back to our vision. Our vision is to activate side hustles all over the world. And so we want to do that by giving out the free shit, and then that free shit we're hoping inspire to actually activate side hustles. And if they like it and want to do more with us and do more with Ruby, then it's obviously the paid offers. But we know that the free stuff will just be free. Some of it, someone will look at it, and we might not hear from them for 12 months or 24 months, whatever it is. So that doesn't matter. But then we know the ones that are engaged that we'll be able to, make a quid out of. So we just went through. There's all sorts. There's videos. workbooks and downloads, and we're planning more. Ruby's planning more talks. That
Nice.
one of the biggest things, the free things we did that really kicked our business along was when you did that free that talk at GA.
Yeah.
And from that, it was free, and you were there for what, an hour, half an hour, or an hour, and then from that, so much engagement, and we got businesses wanting to work with Ruby and private clients out of it. So, just put yourself out there, and you don't know what opportunities are going to come out of it.
And that's the message, right? And thanks for saying that, because the more and more free shit that you give away, and it's not a fucking charity. Like, you're not going, oh, free this, whatever. But the amount of value, again, that you guys have provided, people already know that now. You know what I mean? People really understand that. So one thing that you mentioned as well, Michael, when you went into full-time stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
I had a friend, and she goes, your Super Shirts thing is awesome. My husband just became a stay-at-home dad, and he's just an absolute culture shock. Purely because, he's like, what the hell am I doing here? Because he's been working, 10, 15 years. How did you not just overcome? Because, look, as a man, you often think, I need to be at this level, to be at this level, Ruby, obviously, being such an entrepreneur and go-getter, often at times, surely there'd be a clash, right? With you, Michael, just for, the men out there, what were your key morals and key work ethic, and even just mindset, and say, I'm now going to switch off what I used to know for 19 years. Now I'm going to turn on what I don't know, but I'm going to go get it. So how did you sort of work your mind through that and say, this is what I can do?
Okay, so I brought it back to our vision, and our vision was to be business owners and have an endless summer.
Yep.
Once we agreed on our vision, it's what roles do we play and who can play them best.
Right.
So Ruby was smashing it online, on social media, even working the part-time job before we went full-time.
I saw it all. Trust me, she was smashing. I saw it. I was like, everything. I was following everything. Yeah.
She knew what her personal brand was.
Yes.
And she was ready to promote herself. Whereas I just came out of corporate. I was still a bit hazy on my own personal brand. I wasn't ready to get out in front of social media. I didn't have the discipline yet or the momentum to get online every day. Ruby did. So we took the front office part and I took the back office part, and just knowing that we're both playing our part to achieve our big vision. So that's it wasn't hard. I didn't feel like, I was pussy whipped or anything like that, being the stay-at-home dad, or I wasn't manly enough, because anyone can tell you raising a kid is hard work. So it's actually harder, because you deal with bigger kids in the workplace than you do with your own at home having tensions. So, and I embraced it. I welcomed it. I was ready for the break. I was ready for the late nights and it happened when Teddy, our boy, was having restless nights. Tour de France was on, so I got to watch that at night. The Olympics was on during the day. Like, I had a great time, but at the same time, I was able to business plan, and so I had a great time. Like, I called it a career break. I'm not saying it wasn't hard work. It's obviously hard work. A 6-month-old to being a stay-at-home dad, but I loved it, and I got to spend time with my boy. What an opportunity! Any man in that position, I'd say take it. It's
good. And that's the thing. Like, I personally, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but often or not, people need to wait for an epiphany, right? Where you don't have to wait for the epiphany. Go get it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just there. Sometimes it's there in front of you. Like meeting you people, meeting you guys as inspiring people. This could be the epiphany that people need to be reminded of, because it'd be like, what? I sit every 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. watching all these YouTube TVs. My wife watches what's her name? She's over in America. Judy Time. Jesus, I think every Filipino person that I know watches Judy Time, purely to understand how am I going to raise my kids, what kind of clothes am I going to wear. And every parent that I know watches that little boy who has every toys review, Ryan's toy review. So. And I'm thinking, why can't you be the next Ryan's toy review? The Blacktown version or the Sydney version? and surely enough, we can. But the last thing I'd really like to understand as well, or well, not really just understand, but what are your thoughts about? I mean, any questions? Obviously, my way. Please ask as well. But with what I'm trying to do here for Suits and Shirts, and I didn't go into it in too much depth. Apologies for the baby in the background. It's all part of the authenticity. Right? Authenticity.
Race to cry.
Absolutely, it's all around you. Whether you wear a suit or a shirt, man or woman, you have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And Michael, we went through that before. So, what are your thoughts and what are your opinions about suits and shirts? I guess.
Suits and shirts, yeah. I look, when you explain it to me, it's very noble. Connecting. There's people out there who have a similar story, or similar struggles, or similar challenges. You don't have to be alone. You can connect with people. And it doesn't have to be face to face. It can be digitally, and it could be from anyone in the world. So we're very big on that. We turned our business online so we could focus on outside Australian borders, and not in more English-speaking countries, of course. But we're loving it.
Yeah.
And different cultures, different cultures and different customs and all that. But you know what? People are people. When they're happy, they smile or laugh, and when they're sad, they cry or got a sea face. So it's not hard to. There's people out there to connect with, and that's what I like. What Suits and Shirts is doing, and how you had your epiphany moment, and your parents as well. It's tough, but it's something that makes you think and go. Life is finite, so you'll never get it back. I know it's all cliche. That baby's got a lot of life ahead, but a lot of us, they're a third through, maybe halfway through. So it's never too late. It's never too late.
Appreciate it. And Ruby, if I was to connect you with a guy that I messaged recently, his name is Daryl Frater. He's based in New Jersey, in America, and I think he's also somewhat of a trainer as well, and I guess a motivational speaker and a speaker and a life coach. Would it benefit you if I linked you with him, purely because just to understand what they do in New York, how they, promote people, etc.?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, I would never say no to connecting. So
cool. I think it's because he's really interested in how Australians do these life coaching things and these mentoring sessions and just going out there and grabbing it. But the more and more people that I can find that's really going to benefit you guys, I'll just pick them up to you guys. I think that's the whole reason why we're doing this as well. And likewise, I'd really like to get the recording of what we did today and put it up on my webpage.
Sorry.
That's okay. I thought that was a bleep because someone swore, which I'll probably edit anyway on the editing version. But look, appreciate your time, guys. I know you've hey, likewise. Sorry I talk a lot and I ask so many.
No, I enjoyed that chat. Thank you for having us on.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, and we'll be chatting soon.
All right, have an amazing day.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Wake up at night.